Confident Speaking Podcast, where you can learn to speak English with natural rhythm, real confidence, and fluency.
Hello, everyone, and a very warm welcome back to the Confident Speaking Podcast. I'm Jessica.
And I'm David. It's wonderful to be here with all of you today.
It certainly is. Today, we're diving into a topic that is incredibly relevant for our English learners, something truly universal. We are going to explore the world of work and jobs. We'll cover how to describe what you do for a living, what your daily work looks like, and even how to talk about your professional aspirations for the future. I promise it's going to be an engaging session.
That's absolutely right, Jessica. Discussing your profession is such a common part of everyday conversation, and knowing how to share that part of your life is incredibly important. Think about it. When you meet someone new, one of the very first questions they often ask is about your job. Being able to respond with confidence not only makes you feel comfortable in the conversation, but also fills you with a sense of pride.
Before we get started, we have a small request. If you find our episodes helpful, please consider sharing this video with your friends, subscribing to our channel if you haven't already, and giving us a big thumbs up. Your support truly helps us more than you know.
Yes, please do. That support means everything to us. It's our greatest encouragement. Just as a simple smile can brighten your entire day, your support provides us with the energy and motivation to continue creating valuable content for you.
So, David, are you ready to explore the professional world?
Absolutely, Jessica. Let's begin.
All right. Let's start with a classic scenario. Imagine someone asks you the simple question, "What do you do?" How would you typically answer that, David?
That's an excellent question, Jessica. The most straightforward approach is to state your job title. For instance, I could simply say, I'm a teacher. It's direct and easy to understand.
Yes, that's a perfect and concise answer. Alternatively, you could phrase it as, I work as a designer. You see, both are very clear. So, David, what is your official job title?
I'm an English teacher, Jessica, and I genuinely love what I do. And you?
I'm a presenter for the Confident Speaking Podcast, and I also have a role as a content creator. It's a very enjoyable job.
That sounds fantastic. Sometimes people are also curious about the company or organization you work for. In that case, you could say something like, I work for a marketing agency. Or, if you're your own boss, you can state, I'm self-employed.
Exactly. Like me, David, I am sometimes self-employed, which simply means I am my own boss. It's a nice way to work. Now, let's talk about your responsibilities. What does your job entail on a daily basis?
Yes, this is a crucial part of the description. You could say, I manage social media, or I help customers every day. This gives people a clearer picture of what your job actually involves. So if someone were to ask about my duties, I could explain, I prepare lessons and teach English to students. That is my primary task.
That's a great example. And we have some very useful expressions for this. You can use the phrase, I'm responsible for. For instance, I'm responsible for planning the classes.
Yes, that's a very professional-sounding one. Another excellent phrase is, my main task is to... For me, I could say, my main task is to make learning English fun and accessible.
Oh, and you certainly do a wonderful job of that, David.
Thanks, Jessica. Another helpful expression is, a typical day at work looks like this. This phrase is a great way to start describing your daily tasks with ease.
Yes, precisely. So if I were to say, a typical day at work looks like teaching 5 classes and grading homework, you get a very clear understanding of my day.
Perfect. So to summarize this section, remember to talk about your job title, the company you work for, and your key responsibilities. It's as easy as that.
And let's take a brief pause here. To our dear listener, I want you to think about your own job or your field of study. Can you describe it in a single sentence using the phrases we just discussed? Give it a try right now. Speaking your answer out loud is a powerful way to practice.
Okay, Jessica, let's transition to the next key area, your daily routine at work. People often have a natural curiosity about what a person's workday looks like from morning until evening.
Yes, it's always fascinating to learn about. So, a great place to start is by mentioning your work hours, what time you begin and end your day. For example, you could say, I start work at 9 a.m. and finish at 5 p.m. It's simple, clear, and gives an immediate framework.
And what about all the activities that happen during the day, like meetings, handling emails, and other duties?
Oh, those are very important details. So many jobs involve meetings and a lot of correspondence. You could describe it like this. Every morning, I check my emails and attend a short meeting.
Yes, that sounds like a classic start to the workday for a great number of people. And from there, you can move on to your main responsibilities. For instance, then I work on my main tasks until lunch.
Exactly. And what about the social aspects, like breaks and interactions with colleagues? Do you typically eat lunch with your coworkers? Do you take coffee breaks?
That's a great point to include. I could add, I usually have lunch with my colleagues around 1 p.m. Or perhaps I take a short coffee break in the afternoon. Adding these details really enriches your description of the routine. It helps to paint a vivid picture of your day for the listener.
So, putting it all together, a comprehensive example might sound like this. Every morning, I check my emails and join a brief team meeting. After that, I focus on my primary tasks until my lunch break. In the afternoon, I usually have a few more meetings and respond to more emails. I typically finish my workday around 5 p.m.
That's an excellent example, Jessica. It definitely sounds like a busy and productive day. My own daily routine is a bit different. In the morning, I dedicate my time to planning my lessons, and then I begin teaching my students. Following lunch, I teach more classes and occasionally have meetings with other teachers to coordinate. My workday usually concludes around 4 p.m.
That sounds like a very fulfilling day, David. So remember, everyone, when you're describing your work routine, think about including when you start and finish, the specific tasks you perform, and whether you take breaks or interact with your colleagues.
Precisely. It makes your description so much more complete. And here's a thought for you, our listener. Think of your work routine as your personal, professional story. Even the simplest details can make it richer and more relatable. When you can confidently tell that story in English, you create a genuine connection with people. Now, let's move on to discussing your work environment.
This is about the physical space where you work. Is it a traditional office? Are you working remotely? Is it a hybrid model? Or are you perhaps outdoors?
Haha, yes, this is such a relevant topic now. So many people are working remotely from home, much like we do sometimes.
That's right. You could say, I work in an office downtown, or perhaps I have a hybrid job. That means you work some days from home and other days at the office. And of course, some professions are based entirely outdoors, like a construction worker or a park ranger. You could say, I work outdoors, which sounds very appealing.
That's true. Now, what about the atmosphere of your workplace? Would you describe it as a formal or an informal environment?
That's a great question. A formal workplace often implies a stricter dress code, like wearing a suit, and there tend to be many established rules. In contrast, an informal workplace is generally more relaxed, where you might be able to wear jeans to work. My workplace is typically quite informal. We're encouraged to wear comfortable clothes.
Mine is too, and I really appreciate that. And what about your relationships with your coworkers? Are they generally friendly? Do you collaborate closely on projects?
This is a very important aspect. I could say, my coworkers are very friendly and we often help each other out. Another way to put it is, I work in a small team and we are like a family.
That sounds so lovely. And this brings us to some useful vocabulary for this topic. For instance, the term open space. This describes a large office room with many desks but no separate private rooms.
Yes, a lot of modern companies have adopted open space layouts.
Another keyword is deadline. This refers to a specific time or date by which a task must be completed. For example, I have a deadline next week.
Yes, deadlines can certainly be a source of pressure, sometimes. Next, we have boss, which is the person who manages you. Then there's coworker, which is another word for a colleague, the people you work with. And a client is a customer or a company that you provide services to.
Following that, we have team, which is simply a group of people working together on a common goal. For instance, our team is working on a new project.
And finally, a fantastic perk, flexible hours. This arrangement means you can choose when you start and finish your workday, usually within certain limits. That's a wonderful benefit to have.
So, to recap, you can describe your work environment by talking about where you work, the general atmosphere, and the dynamic with your coworkers.
Now, David, let's delve into something more personal. Job satisfaction. So tell me, do you genuinely enjoy your job?
Oh, I absolutely love my job, David. It's so rewarding to connect with our listeners and share the English language with them. So for me, I could express it by saying, I love my job because it allows me to be creative and I get to meet so many interesting people.
That's wonderful to hear, David. And that's a perfect way to explain why you like your job. You could also use phrases like, I like my job because it's challenging and helps me grow. Or, I enjoy my work because the people are incredibly nice.
Let's also talk about the specific aspects. What are the things you enjoy the most and which parts do you enjoy the least? It's realistic to acknowledge that some parts of a job aren't as enjoyable as others.
That's very true. For me, the part I enjoy the most is the act of teaching itself. It's incredibly rewarding to witness students learning and progressing. On the other hand, what I enjoy the least is probably grading papers. It can be quite time-consuming.
I can definitely understand that. In my case, I most love interacting with our audience and hearing their stories. The part I find least enjoyable is sometimes the technical side of production, like video editing. It's just not my greatest strength.
We all have those parts of our jobs, don't we? And on that note, sometimes people find they don't like their job at all and feel ready for a change.
Yes, that's a very common and valid feeling. You can express this professionally by saying, I'm looking for a new opportunity. This signals that you want a new job. Or you could be more specific. I want to find a job with better pay, or I'm hoping to find a job that is closer to my home. We also have another useful expression here. It can be stressful sometimes, but this is a fantastic way to talk about the difficulties while still highlighting the positive aspects. For instance, my job can be stressful sometimes, but I absolutely love the team I work with.
That's a perfect example. So when discussing job satisfaction, remember to think about whether you like your job, what you enjoy most and least, and if you are considering a change in your career.
And here's a deeper reflection for our listeners. When you describe what you love or dislike about your work, you're doing more than just practicing English. You're sharing the story of your heart. Your words have the power to reveal your dreams, your challenges, and your personal growth.
Okay, David, let's journey back in time for a moment. Let's discuss past jobs and professional experience. Where did you work before your current role?
My previous jobs. A great way to describe this is by showing a comparison. I could say, I used to work in a small local company, but now I'm part of a large international team. This effectively illustrates your career path and growth.
That's an excellent way to frame it. Another example could be, before this, I was a student, and I worked part-time at a coffee shop to gain experience.
And what about the valuable skills you learned in those previous positions? This is so important when you're applying for new jobs.
Yes, it demonstrates your capabilities. You could say, in my last job, I learned a great deal about customer service, or I learned how to effectively manage a team. This really helps to describe your career journey so far. It's like telling the story of your professional life.
Exactly. So if someone asks you about your experience, you can tell them about your former jobs and the skills you acquired there. For example, I used to be a salesperson, and in that role, I learned how to communicate with many different types of people. That's a highly valuable skill. So remember to talk about where you worked before, what you learned, and how it shaped your career path.
Now, let's shift our focus and look toward the future. This is the exciting part. Let's talk about future career goals. David, where do you see yourself professionally in the years to come?
That's a great question, Jessica. I could say, in the future, I'd like to manage my own YouTube channel on a full-time basis. That's a personal dream of mine.
Wow, that is a fantastic goal, David. And that's the perfect structure for expressing it. Alternatively, someone might say, I want to become a leading expert in my field.
And what about the new skills you want to acquire? This shows a commitment to continuous growth.
Yes, you could say, I want to improve my communication skills, or I want to learn more about digital marketing. It demonstrates that you are always striving to learn and develop.
That's a wonderful mindset to have. And finally, let's talk about the ultimate dream job. What is your dream job, Jessica?
Oh, my absolute dream job would be to travel the world and teach English in many different countries. That would be an incredible experience.
That sounds like a magnificent adventure. My dream job is to create content that inspires and helps millions of people around the globe.
That's a beautiful aspiration, David. So, when you talk about your future, think about where you want to go, what skills you need to learn, and what your ultimate dream job looks like.
And here's a challenge for you, our listener. What is your dream job? Don't just keep it in your mind. Say it out loud in English right now. Even if it feels distant, the moment you give it a voice, you make it more real.
Okay, David, we've shared a lot about our own jobs. Now let's equip our listeners with the tools to ask someone else about their job. This is extremely useful for real-life conversations.
Yes, very practical. The most common and direct question is simply, what do you do?
Exactly. And after they've answered, a great follow-up question that shows you are interested is, do you like your job?
Yes, that's a nice, engaging question. Another good one to ask is, how long have you worked there? This gives you insight into their level of experience. They might reply, oh, I've worked there for 5 years.
And to make the conversation even more engaging, you could ask, what's the most interesting part of your job?
That's a brilliant question, Jessica. It invites a much more detailed and personal answer. You could also ask, what is a typical day like for you? Or what do you do on a typical day? These questions help you to better understand their work and ensure the conversation keeps flowing smoothly.
So the next time you meet someone new, remember these questions to start a warm and friendly conversation about their profession.
Wow, Jessica, we have covered so much ground today, from describing your current job to discussing future ambitions and even asking others about their work. I believe our listeners now have a wealth of new vocabulary and phrases at their disposal.
I completely agree, David. This episode is filled with practical information for anyone who wants to talk about their job confidently in English. And remember, practice is what makes the difference. Try to describe your own job using the language we've shared today.
And here's how this connects to real life. Talking about your work is about more than just vocabulary. It's about building confidence. When you can effectively share your professional story, you create a powerful connection with others. And that connection is really the heart of communication.
Well said. And before we sign off, if you enjoyed this episode, please don't forget to subscribe to the Confident Speaking podcast. Be sure to share this video with any friends who are also learning English.
And please leave a comment below. Let us know, what do you like most about your job? Or, if you don't have a job yet, what is your dream job? We genuinely love reading your comments and connecting with our amazing community.
Thank you all so much for joining us today on the Confident Speaking podcast.
Yes, thank you. We look forward to seeing you in the next episode.
Bye-bye for now.
See you next time.
Thanks for tuning in to Confident Speaking Podcast. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe to Master English Fluency.